Call a crew to the fire tonight. Raise them up. Bring the fight. Boats hit the floor and the night it ignites. Steel in our veins, yeah, we live for the fight. Dust on our throats and a spark in our chest. We don't back down, we don't second guess. Amy's got the fire, lighting up the flame. Lacey swings hard, yeah, we're carving our name. From the gutter to the stage, from the bottom of the sky. We're the voice you hear when the weak don't try. We're that drum, feel it pounding your bone. No kicks here, we take our own thrones. Hey, raise the crew, let them hear the sound. Hey, from the ashes we're burning it down. Hey, no retreat, no fear, no excuse. We are the roar. We are the ToosDay Crüe.
Pins in the air and the chaos grows. Stories get loud where the wild wind blows. With scars and grit, yeah, we paid our dues. Now we're kicking indoors with nothing to lose.
Voices collide like a runaway train. Laugh through the struggle, dance through the pain. If you're standing with us, then you already know. We don't follow lines, we just steal the show. Feel that fire ripping straight through your chest. This ain't a game, it's a war cry test. Hey, raise the crew, let them hear the sound. Hey, from the ashes we're burning it down. Hey, no retreat, no fear, no excuse. We are the roar. We are the ToosDay Crüe. Call them in, call them home. Through the fire, through the storm. We don't break, we reload. We don't kneel, we explode. Raise the crew, let them hear the sound. Hey, from the ashes we're burning it down. Hey, no retreat, no fear, no excuse. We are the roar. We are the ToosDay Crüe. Day Crüe. ToosDay Crüe. Day Crüe. ToosDay Crüe.
Woo! Misfit Nation! Tonight, we don't just start a show, we start a fire. Tonight is about passion, it's about purpose, it's about showing up when life gets hard and still bring your best. Because every one of us has been through battles. We've carried that weight. We've fought through storms. But guess what? We're still here. And tonight, we bring that energy to life. This is where the stress ends and the momentum begins. This is where the stories hit harder. The laughs get louder. And that fire gets passed from one misfit to another. So leave the doubt behind. Leave the excuses at the door and bring that heat, because tonight We're all turning this place all the way up. Misfit Nation, get on your feet and bring the noise for the men who bring the grit, the passion, and the fire every single week. It's Steven, it's Jake, the ToosDay Crüe.
What's going on, everybody? Good evening.
Hey, good evening, and welcome to the ToosDay Crüe. How's it going, Steven?
It's going well. I'm sad I missed the All-Star race. I was working Sunday, but I heard, a couple good accidents.
Yeah, but it was, you didn't miss anything, man.
Really? Okay.
Matter of fact,
I said that Hocevar didn't win because, he wanted that win. And I was watching videos. He actually went to NASCAR and said, if I win, can you pay me in cash instead of a check?
I watched it about halfway through that third stage and went and worked on my tractor.
Oh, so it was that exciting.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. I trust you've had a good week.
I have, yes. Work's been, picking up. It's been getting steadily busy. The heat kind of kills you a little bit, but hey, you work through it and drink water.
Take a knee and drink water. You'll be fine.
Exactly. And water helps sometimes.
Well, hey, let's not keep our listeners waiting.
Okay. Alrighty. You ready to go? Everybody? Jake, a lot of people survive trauma, but very few people ever truly heal from it.
That's because healing actually means confronting the stuff that most people spend their lives trying to bury. Pain, trust, fear, broken relationship, and the parts of ourselves we don't want anybody else to see.
And tonight's guest has spent her life understanding exactly that. Patricia Greenelle is a forensic psychologist, writer, and survivor who's using her story to help people understand trauma, relationships, resilience, and what it really takes to rebuild yourself.
And this conversation gets real pretty quick. We're going to talk about complex trauma, emotional wounds, vulnerability, boundaries, and learning how to trust again after life hits you hard.
And the powerful thing about Patricia's story is she's not speaking from theory alone. She's lived it.
And so if you've ever struggled with trauma, relationships, self-worth, or finding your way after difficult seasons in life, this conversation is for you. So without any further ado,
let's bring in Patricia. Patricia, good evening. How are you?
Good evening. I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks.
We are good.
Good.
We are good. And you're coming from out there in lovely Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
And we gave a little bit of your bio and what you do and what you're doing. Why don't you just fill the Misfit Nation in on the rest of it and start from wherever you want to start and bring us up to right now. This is your story. Let's get it out there.
Okay. Well, I've been in the military. I was in the military for like 17 years. I was in the U.S. Army Reserve, and I was on active duty for 4.5 years. And I worked at the installation north of the Golden Gate Bridge in the 5th U.S. Army as a personnel senior sergeant. And I really liked it a lot. It was great. I loved what I was doing. But for the rest of my life, I had an upbringing that was a little bit questionable. But I didn't realize that until I was 27 years old when my therapist said to me, "You were abused as a child. You were sexually abused." And I said, "What? I wasn't." "Yeah, you were." "Oh my gosh, I'm a statistic. I didn't realize that." He says, yeah, that's the case. And I says, "I thought everybody's family had somebody in their family that was just, kind of off the wall like that. And he said, no, that's not true. I said, okay. So it was at that part really that I started to get into psychology. I started to train in psychology and to find out more about what made people do what they do. And I continued on from there. I got a master's in counseling and a master's in clinical psychology, and then a doctorate in clinical psychology. So by the time I got to the doctorate, I was like, okay, this makes sense to me now. It took a while, but it made sense to me then. And that's why I decided to write the book, because I thought, well, golly, first of all, I thought, well, I don't have anything to write about. And I took a course on writing memoir. So I started to write for the class. And as I started writing, I thought, well, golly, I've got something to say here. And I realized that I had something that other people had too. And they just kind of ignored it and didn't look at it. And they just totally, blew it off. So that's where I got the idea. We were a nice, normal family, because everybody thinks there's a nice, normal family, but it's not. There's something wrong with almost every one of them, someplace along the line. But people tend not to want to look at that. So
Yeah.
I decided this was what I wanted to do, was to try to help people realize that this is really important. It needs to be looked at. It needs to be addressed. And the statistics are outstanding. Every 68 seconds in the United States, there's somebody who is sexually abused. And I thought that was astounding. So It's that type of information that I have put in my book, as well as the story itself on how I ended up where I was.
That's okay. First of all, that statistic that you gave, that's I never would have believed that. That is astounding. That's wow. And now, does it break it down further by this abuse being by a family member, or could this be or is it, family members and strangers all kind of
thrown together? Yeah, it could be anybody in the United States.
Okay. But yeah, I have found though that a lot of these, when you hear about them and when you read about them, they actually come from a person. They usually come from a person of trust.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's what really erodes somebody's being able to trust somebody else, is because you put your heart and soul into trusting somebody, and then they do something like that. It really, it will really erode that trust.
Yeah, that's true.
So you had your military service, you got, you worked through your master's, worked through your PhD. Now, what went on in the years between the time that you got your PhD and then you wrote your book?
Well, I got my doctorate fairly late in life. I got all of my education late in life. I went to basic training at the age of 32. So 35 is the max. So that gives you an idea of where I was with everybody else. And the drill sergeant decided I was going to be a problem. So she started to focus on me. And afterwards, she apologized and said, I thought you were going to be a problem, but you weren't. I'm sorry. Which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yes.
That's very interesting. Yeah.
At any rate, I did some active duty, and then I did some USAR time. I did some more active duty, and I did active duty since 1977 for like 3 months at a time. Mm-hmm. And then I decided I wanted to go on active duty full time. So that's when I started working at the military installation in San Francisco. U.S. Army, U.S. Fifth Army.
Okay.
And that's when I lived on Presidio. And that was a beautiful
All right.
place to live and a wonderful place to work.
Yeah, it is a beautiful place. And I think it's a national park. Didn't they make it a park?
I think so. Yeah.
All right. So if anybody's in that area, that is definitely worth a stop.
Oh, yeah.
That is definitely worth a stop.
Yeah. I
And
lived
now,
on Presidio.
and now they've moved that to Fort Knox, Kentucky.
That's interesting because I went to Fort Knox, Kentucky after I was in California. And at Fort Knox, Kentucky, I was the publications manager for the publications that came into the U.S. Army.
Oh, okay.
And that was a civilian job.
Okay.
And I enjoyed
So
doing that for several years.
you know a little bit about the Bluegrass State then.
Oh, yeah.
It's a wonderful place. My final duty station was Fort Campbell, and I stayed.
Oh.
So the base you were at the Golden Gate Bridge, was that on the water? That was close to the base was close to the water?
Yes, it was right off the
Because,
water.
right, because when I was there, we took a tour and they brought us, I believe it was an old base, and they have shops and stuff there now, and that's where the tour, you went, you could sit on the edge of the water and look over the Golden Gate Bridge. You could see the jail in the background, and so I'm guessing that's what that was. Okay. All these things, getting all those popped into my head. I'm like, wow, I believe I was there. That's why I had to ask.
Did you go to Alcatraz, Stephen?
I never went to Alcatraz. We didn't go on that tour.
Yeah, they're
It
probably
was
trying
something
to
you had
keep
to
you.
book, and we never thought to do. But I looked at it. I looked at it from afar. I'm like, no, you'll never get me. No.
That's a pretty cool tour if you ever get to make it. You step inside one of those cells and they can actually close the door. And yeah, no, that kind of, yeah, I quit doing stuff that would get me sent to prison.
I get claustrophobic too easy for you to be locking me in a cell like that. Yeah.
So you're doing all this stuff, traveling around the country. Now, were you pursuing your education while you were still working for the Army, or did you just wait till you got out?
No, I wanted to get a degree, a college degree, and I wanted to get it right out of high school, but obviously that didn't work. So I had got married. And I told my husband that I wanted to get an education. And he said, you don't need one. And I said, well, why not? He says, you just don't need one. You don't need to do that. And we don't have the money to pay for it. And I'm like, okay. And I went with that at the time. Although later in life, I realized that he didn't want me to get out among people and be with other people and see other people and communicate and find out what the circumstances were in my marriage. At any rate, what I started to do was to take correspondence courses across all the United States universities. And I would put them all to one college, which was Columbia College. And I gathered them all together. And I would have like from Maryland, from California, from South Dakota, from Minnesota, wherever I could get a way to do a particular class. And I started to take these classes. When I was with my second husband, he ended up going to Germany, and I was with him, and I ended up getting my bachelor's degree there, because he didn't have anything to say about it at that point, because they were encouraging people to get their bachelor's degrees. So I was really excited about that, and I got my bachelor's degree finally, and I got it in 1968, and it was it 1986, And I got a degree in business administration and also psychology. So then I decided, okay, now I want to go on for more psychology. And I did. So that's when I ended up going to, I went to Camp Edwards for a tour of a reserve tour. And my second husband, when I told him I was going to go to Camp Edwards for 3 months, he said, well, don't come back. I said, okay. And I drove to Massachusetts at Camp Edwards, where Cape Cod, and I never went back. So I met my husband while I was on active duty at that time. My third husband, who I've been married to for 35 years. And we've had a really great relationship. So it's worked out
third
well.
time's a charm. That's good.
Yeah.
Hey, I know somebody else that third time's a charm.
He's been very understanding about my book and the background that I've had and all of that. It's been great.
You know, after living with somebody that, you know, just tries to bring you down all the time and, you know, really doesn't support you in things that you do, when you find that one that does, that's such a good feeling.
It sure is. It's exceptional.
Very good feeling. So I imagine you put that education to work for you, didn't you?
Yes, I did. As a matter of fact, I retired as a forensic psychologist. I worked with not guilty by reason of insanity for about 8 or 9 years. And these were a bunch of really interesting guys. They were murderers and arsonists and bank robbers. And I had to work with them one-on-one in an enclosed room. The closed room had glass, so people could see in there if they were beating me up. But I found out after I had lived there or worked there for probably 3 or 4 weeks that it was the most dangerous place to work in the state. And I'm like, oh, okay, great.
It only took them 3 weeks to tell you that. That's pretty good. Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah. Oh, incidentally, we forgot to mention this, but yeah. So, but it was
And by
a really,
then you probably just got comfortable doing it, right? And then they're like,
Yeah.
oh, by the way. Right?
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. We did assessments on the people to try to find out if they were sociopathic. And I had to do individual therapy. I had to do group therapy, and I had to do classes for psychoeducational classes for the guys. And I had an all male population for my that I worked with for my clients.
I bet group therapy with a bunch of sociopaths is fun.
It was pretty interesting. Yeah.
Not for
Yeah.
nothing, being in the Army is probably equal, you know.
Well, there is that.
Well, yes. Now,
But I might
in
well
that,
say,
well, just leading on to what Stephen said, did you take anything from your training and your dealing with soldiers or whatever in the Army to that civilian job?
Of course I did. I had to, because it was just part of me at that point. It was just, you know, I mean, had been active duty and I'd been in the Army, and I kind of had that attitude. So when the patients were supposed to line up, I said, line up on me. And they go, what? So anyway, I carried it with me the whole time, and I did use it as I was working.
There's some of that discipline that you never get rid of, is there?
That's right.
and that also probably helped with dealing with it, because you had that
Yes.
training and discipline from the service.
Yes, I think so too. I think what
Mhm.
the guys knew that I had been in the military, and they were aware of it, that I was a little bit stronger than some of the women that they were working with. So they kind of gave me a little bit of extra space.
That's
Well,
good.
good deal. My hat's off to you for dealing with that population. But uh, along that though, I have talked with some folks that work in prisons,
Hmm.
and they say that the male population is easier to deal with than the female population.
That's true. That's true. The female population that I dealt with, I just had a few, but there were borderline personalities and histrionic personalities and just people you couldn't get along with. And they would do all kinds of really strange things. And you'd go, oh my gosh, what is this happening? So, yeah, that's true. The women were worse than the men.
Now, could that be because maybe they suffered more trauma earlier on?
It's possible, but not necessarily. It's kind of like
Okay.
it's kind of like in basic training, they say that the women uh, trainers are more what do you call it, harder on the trainees than the men are. And so when I was in basic training, they said, you know, the women, you don't want a woman to be your drill sergeant because she's going to do all kinds of weird things. And so it was kind of comparable.
Way more
Yes.
aggressive, yes. That's
Ne-
mostly because they think they have to prove themselves to the boys' club. Is what
Yeah,
it comes
that's
down to at
true.
the end of the day. And
Yeah,
especially back in the day, it was the boys' club. Now it's more of a mix.
right.
Now, what about profiling? That was the one question I had to ask you about when it is profiling. Did you ever get a chance or get to do any of that?
Yeah, I had to profile basically all of the people on my workload. And we were trying to determine out of the PCLR, which is a thing that determines psychosociopath and sociopathy.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to deal with an entire story of each one of them, their childhood and their upbringing and how they got to where they were. And so basically what I did was profile them to try to figure out how they got to where they were and why they did what they did.
Okay. All right. And we have our first question, Stephen.
Yes, we do. Shalinda Rose wants to know, where were you in the Women's Armed Corps, WAC, or did you go to basic at Fort McClellan?
I was in the Women's Army Corps, the very last WAC group that there was, and I was at Fort McClellan.
All right.
Nice. Okay. Thank you for that question, Shalinda.
Yeah, that was a good question. Well, hey, Misfit Nation, if you're just joining us, we are talking with Patricia Greenelle. She is an author and she is a psychologist, forensic psychologist, and we have been talking about some of the stuff that she did earlier on in her career, Army veteran, and then got her doctorate and was working with inmates. And now we're going to shift gears a little bit because we're going to talk about her book. She has written a book, and it is a memoir. And I don't know if this is going to apply to everybody out there. It might apply to some of you, but the book is We Were a Nice, Normal Family, a memoir of recovery. And we're going to get Patricia to talk about her recovery, the book, and where you can get the book, and how possibly, if you're struggling, how you can start on your recovery.
Okay. Yeah, it's very important if you are in a recovery situation that you get help. There are several organizations, and I've highlighted them in my book with telephone numbers that you can contact people to get help for. And there are there's a whole section of my book that I've done of statistics so that people realize that this happens to a lot of people. This isn't just a one-time thing. It isn't just a one family thing. It happens to a lot of people. And you need to know that you're not alone. And that's very important that you are aware of that. And the book is about me as I grew up from probably about the age of 6 or 7 were my first memories that I had about the book. And I went on from there and into, well, when I was 6 years old, that's when I was first sexually approached by my brother-in-law. So from that time on, I was sexually abused until I left the house. So my sister, Josie, I call her in the book, was much more abused than I was. And I've dedicated the book to her because I wanted her, even though she's passed on, I wanted to have the opportunity for her to be heard. So that's why I did that. Then I go on through the book and explain how I ended up getting the divorces, how I ended up meeting the next person, and all of that.
Okay. We can here in a few, we will actually get a picture of the book cover up here on the screen so our listeners can see what it looks like. And I know it's probably, you can order it in a lot of places. I found it on Amazon.
Amazon is the best place. And it's either in Kindle or paperback. And I'm also coming up with an audible for it.
Okay.
I hope to have before too long.
Awesome. Now,
we have another question coming in.
Okay.
You ready for it? Okay. Hennessy L wants to know, how does trauma change the way people build relationships?
Wow.
Thank you for that question.
That's a really good question. Relationships are formed as a result of how children are raised. So when you're raised in a family that you have relationships with somebody that is off or weird, when you grow up, you expect that to be the case. You expect that to be what you're going to find, and you find it. And so you find these people who are weird and off, and a lot of times they're narcissistic. A lot of times they're misogynist. But it all relates back to when you were a child. So it's really important to realize that as growing up, that's when you become the person that you are. And when you learn about how to become the people that you are and who you deal with and how you deal with them.
No, I have a question, and in my mind right now, it really feels like it's wrong to ask you this, but you had childhood trauma, and then you went through 2 really bad marriages, or not really bad marriages. Now that you're on your 3rd, is it from the trauma that you went and you dealt with this, and you said, yeah, this isn't going to happen, and change, partners, and then change partners again, then found the one that you're with for all this time now? Is
Yes.
it from the childhood trauma that you're like, oh, this is normal? Then you're like, no, really, it's not. Let me do something about this. And it was just your mindset. This is okay. This is okay. This isn't okay.
Exactly.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, exactly.
Snapped in your head.
So the things that my husbands were doing, I thought were okay. I thought there was something wrong with me and that I was doing something strange or weird. And when I actually sat down and looked at it, I realized that they were doing things that weren't particularly positive. Like when I tried to leave my first husband, he said, "I'm going to kill you if you leave." And I was like, oh my gosh, well, I don't know if he's serious or not, but he says, "You're not going to leave." He says, "You're going to stay here." So I worked through that. And unfortunately, I had to get off of active duty in order to do that. And I ended up at Fort Knox. But I had a good time at Fort Knox and a good job there.
Now, I got to ask, since you was at Fort Knox, did you live in Radcliffe or E-Town?
Both.
Oh, okay.
First Radcliffe and then E-Town and then Radcliffe again.
Okay. You've probably not been there in a while, but after they moved all the armor off of Fort Knox, Radcliffe has all but dried up.
Really? Oh my gosh.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes.
I guess I didn't realize that they moved the armor off of it.
Yes, they moved. All the armor training is now at Fort Benning, Georgia.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing. Yeah, Fort Knox must not be what it was at all then.
No, not near what it was. They train cadets there in the summertime.
All right, are we ready for another question or statement? Ed Sararus wrote, "You gave some mind-blowing stats earlier in the interview. What are your thoughts on MST and how it became a widespread reporting call for nearly a decade? Now you do not hear a lot about it." Thank you for that, Sararus.
Yes, I'm familiar with MST, and I was actually involved in a situation where I had that happen to me when I was on active duty. So, yes, there is a lot of reporting that's going on, and people need to pay attention to what's happening and be willing to make a difference in that. And I was first in the Army, it was mainly men. And then it gradually grew into more women. But most of the places I worked, I was working with men. So I did have that type of situation, that type of problem. Did that answer the question?
I sure hope so. Because she also mentioned that you do not hear a lot about it now. So it was, a lot back then, and now you don't hear a lot about it. So I guess he feels that there's been a change. Okay, Jake.
Man, we got questions. We got questions rolling in.
Yeah, we got another one. You ready?
Yeah.
At Plumpkin Ship wants to know, why is vulnerability so difficult after painful experiences? Thank you for that question.
Because you trust the people that you've been spending time with, and you think that they're okay, and you think that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing for you. So it makes it really difficult in a relationship because the vulnerability is just outrageous.
I'm getting questions from everywhere on here.
Well, it is a topic, and it'll pull strings for a lot of people, whether they admit it or not. Something has happened sooner or later, and it's something they're hiding in their head, and it's something they work through. And
I don't
those questions.
I don't think there's anybody out there that did not suffer some kind of trauma during their childhood, whether it was physical, emotional, whatever.
Exactly.
Me telling our producer for 90% of his life that he was adopted. That's trauma. It's true. He had lived with it for years. Me just telling him he was adopted.
Man, that's just cruel.
Well,
That
yeah,
is just cruel.
but that's what brothers do.
Yes. Well, I never had an older brother, so I never had one, to pick on me like that. So I never went through that.
And that's where the next question comes in. At Raspberry Beret wants to know, can emotional wounds ever fully heal? Thank you for that question.
I'm not sure that they can fully heal, but they can be dealt with to a point where you can live with it.
Yeah, I guess
And
hiding it and bottling it up is something that isn't never going to help you.
Right.
You said
Complex.
when you went to the doctor, you didn't know. You blanked it out to the point you forgot about it.
Right.
That doesn't help.
Right.
And we got another one kind of.
When you were trying to talk there.
It's all right. Hey, we got another one that's kind of on it. It deals with boundaries.
Oh my goodness, did I miss it?
I'll pop it up there.
Oh, here it is. At Salisbury, the Steak wants to know, what role do boundaries play in personal growth? Thank you for that question.
Very important. Very important. If I'd had any boundaries when I was a kid, I wouldn't have been through what happened. I didn't know what boundaries were. I didn't have any, and I didn't know what they were. I didn't know anything about them. And people talked about boundaries, but I thought, oh, okay, yeah, all right. I didn't really realize what was okay and what wasn't. So yeah,
Now,
boundaries are really, really important. I put a special section of my book about boundaries.
Yeah, I was just looking on it and read the table of contents of it, and yeah, there's a lot of stuff covered in this book. And hey, listeners, if you're on here and you're having trouble, get on there and order you a copy of We Were a Nice Normal Family. And
it was an Amazon #1 bestseller too.
Well, awesome for that. Awesome for that.
All right, Jake, you got the next question. There you go.
Do I have to read hers?
Yes.
Good evening, dear daughter Delana. And she wants to know, what would you tell someone who is currently in school for their psychology degree? Thank you for that question, Delana.
Keep going. Don't stop with a bachelor's degree. Don't stop with the master's. Go for the doctorate, because that's where you're going to learn what's going on and why people do what they do.
Was that so hard, Jake? That you got an answer?
Hey, if I can't give my kids a hard time, who can I give a hard time to?
All right, our next question is from Come On Back. They want to know, how can leaders better support people struggling silently? Thank you for that question. Come on back.
I think leaders that are therapists can really help people who are struggling. You need to find somebody that understands the complex PTSD and really makes sense of it and helps you to process through it, because that's what makes the biggest difference.
Okay. Here's the next one for you. Super G Young wants to know, what does healing personally mean to you?
Well, that's difficult, because healing to me is a process over time that you go through. And I feel like I healed through the process of writing the book. My husband said that as well, that he thought that it was a healing process for me. And he read the book after I wrote it. He had not read it before, and there were some things in there he didn't know. So he was surprised to learn them. But I think it was a healing process, and I'm still in the process of healing. And I probably will be my entire life, because I'm still I'm hypervigilant. If he were to walk in the door right now, I'd probably scream. I tend to get upset with things real easily, and I get angry. I get angry and want to hurt something, like like a box or something that I can't get open, because I've kicked a box across the room that I couldn't get open, and my husband came home and opened it for me. But you just healing is a process that's ongoing.
Yeah, and I've kind of dealt with that some. Just people being overly defensive a lot of times with a lot of stuff, and I think once I learned to kind of pick up those cues and stuff, you just kind of change your approach, and maybe build a little more trust, and try to support them and help them heal as much as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why we stopped bringing up your buffering, Jake, because she would get over offended, and
You're lucky
Sorry,
I can't reach through. You're lucky I can't reach through the screen, buddy.
Okay,
Come
I
on
have
now.
another
Hey.
question for you. I'm sorry.
Bald-headed,
Next
grumpy
question.
old.
At Roots of Ginger wants to know, should part of leadership education focus on looking for signs of trauma so they do not inadvertently trigger their people?
Yes,
I think
definitely.
that's a good question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Leaders in education need to be aware of that too, and they need to focus on it. And they need to be aware of the statistics.
Definitely
Yeah,
aware of the
because
statistics. It's terrible.
I know that there are school teachers out there that have students that might have a little bit of a problem, and I'm just going to say, I know that they purposely hit that kid's triggers so they have a reason to get them out of class and not deal with them.
Yeah.
And I think it's lazy on the teacher's part, and get these young kids some help. Maybe they're dealing with something, and you could be the shining light in their life, but
That's right.
they don't have time for it.
Well, I've noticed through the years, the differences you see in teachers now. The teachers today in schools, they're teaching you towards a test, from all I could see. They're not teaching you life. Back when I was in high school, I would have a history teacher that would throw tomorrow's test on the desk and say, "Here's tomorrow's test, look at it." And he'd open up the paper and sit there for 45 minutes and not do a damn thing. So, it's different ways of teaching. And I don't know if it's gotten better, if it's gotten worse, because 9 out of 10 times you're not even looking at who's in the room or what's going on. And that's something that they need to start changing. They need to recognize the people in front of them and not just teach out of a book and read a book to them, and actually pay attention to them. And maybe they would be able to catch something's going on.
That's true. I was dumbfounded one day. I went into a UPS store and I wanted to send something to a person, and I had handwritten it. And she says, "I don't read cursive. I'm going to have you spell this for me." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yes.
That was the first thing Sister Vivian taught us when we hit second grade, was how to write cursive.
Mm-hmm. How can they read the Declaration of Independence if they can't read cursive?
They
Now-
probably have it on audiobook for them.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I think they want that.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
And another reason I heard is that they went to printing and all that stuff is because AI can't read cursive. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true or not, but we're not going to get too in the weeds on that because I can shoot
day or so.
I can shoot down that rabbit hole quick. Stephen, somebody made a comment that you never went to class. What are you talking about?
I went to some classes, not all of them. I'm not saying I was the best student. I'm the first to admit that I spent 5 years in high school, 3 of them as a freshman. I had a lot on my mind back then.
I understand. And Penny Lope wants to know. She said that she missed when you said the statistic. Can you say that one again when we first opened the show?
Every 68 seconds, somebody in the U.S. is sexually abused.
Again.
Let us know if you caught that, Penny. Oh. So, we've talked about the book. Going to try to get some people on there to get it bought. And what are some ways that people can reach you if they need to reach you?
I have a website that's patriciagrenelle.com. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Substack. I'm on Facebook. I have 2 different pages on Facebook, one for my own personal stuff and one for the book. And this is my website that you're seeing there now. And that's patriciagrenelle.com.
Okay, and there's the cover of the book, folks. And like I said, you can find that on Amazon. And on your Substack and Facebook, you are the Crime Doctor. Am I correct?
I did do some crime doctor work before, but I'm not doing that anymore.
Okay.
I did a lot of stories on crime, but I'm not doing that anymore.
Now, I know that you can't mention names or anything, but what's some of the... Thank you for that, Delana. What is some of the weirdest or like jaw-dropping stuff that you've had some of these people, like some of the crimes they've committed? I don't know if you can talk about that or not, but
yeah, I had one man who was an ER doctor, and he killed his wife with a baseball bat and an axe. And he was found to be really clinically depressed. And he was so depressed he was hearing voices. But it was a really sad case because he didn't want to live. He just didn't want to be part of the world. And it was very difficult for him to go through the process of the courtroom and the therapy and all of it.
okay. All right. Wow. Baseball bat and an axe.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. Now, Delana has another question. What are some other good books that you would recommend for psychology students outside of textbooks?
I have some listed in my book.
Okay.
I can't think of any right off the top of my head. But there's a list of them in the book.
Well, knowing her, she will probably buy your book. So, or Hey, Dad, guess what I want for my birthday?
Yeah, that sounds about right. I like that, man. Already have. Oh, she got. Sure.
Oh, yeah, she already had. She's already ordered the book. Oh,
That's great. I think one book sold for goes to the show. Great.
yes, we sold a book this evening.
Yeah.
Amen.
So you got this book out. What's next?
Well, I thought about writing a memoir about the day in the life of a forensic psychologist, but I don't think I have the energy.
Okay, well, you could sit down and be interviewed and have somebody ghostwrite it for you.
Yeah, I could do that.
Definitely, you could do that. Yeah.
I know there's a lot
like
of
that?
interest in it. There's a lot of people who want to read it, but I'm just not sure I have the energy at this point. After going through the process of this book and marketing it and all that, it's very demanding.
Well, I'm not an author, so I don't understand, but we've interviewed enough authors on this show that, yes, I am sure that it can be a grinding experience. And,
Yeah.
But hey, if that was a goal of yours when you started out was to write a book, well, you can check that goal off. You've
That's
done
true.
it.
Yep.
You have done it. Oh, well, folks, the name is Patricia Greenelle. The book is We Were a Nice, Normal Family. You know, if you're dealing with some kind of trauma from childhood, don't know how to deal with it, get the book, read it. Maybe you'll find some tips and tricks in there to help you. And the number one thing that you will find out in this book is that you are not alone. You are not alone. There are other people out there just like you. And speaking of that, if you're out there tonight, you're feeling the darkness, get on that phone, dial 988. If you're a veteran, hit option 1. Somebody on there will get you the help that you need, because tomorrow will not be as beautiful as it will be with you in it. So we want you here for tomorrow. If you don't want to call that number, contact us here at the Misfit Nation. We'll get back with you. We will get back with you. And I know this is the question that everybody's been waiting for. So, Patricia, we have one more question for you. It comes in 3 parts.
Okay.
What are 3 non-negotiables that you have to do every day or your day is not complete?
Non-negotiables. Get up.
Okay.
Stay up. And do the laundry.
Okay. All right.
That is
I can get behind it because I got that problem too. If I get up, I can't go back and sit. I usually have to eat my breakfast standing up or whatever, because if I sit back down, I'm going to sleep. I am going back to sleep. So yes, that is very good advice. Get up, stay up, make sure you got clean clothes.
That's one of the best answers. I love that.
Yes. Yes. Well, Patricia, thank you for hanging out with us tonight.
Thank you.
And in case anybody hasn't told you today, all you have done and all you have went through, you are a very strong woman indeed. And you are. My hat's off to you.
Thank you very much.
And thank you.
You
for
picked
helping
yourself
others
up.
that are afraid to get the help.
Yes, and thank you for, I mean, you laid it pretty bare, and if anybody's out there needing help, go get it, because you can have a better life.
That's right.
Stephen, you got anything for the nation before we leave?
Yeah, don't forget to check us out on Reach Across America, Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern. And, you know, I'll be traveling. I'll be your way next Tuesday. So I'll be at Studio 1A, 1B. I'm not sure what it is anymore because I'm getting old and I forget. But I'll be there, and I will see you next week.
Now,
Man, thank you, Patricia. It was a great chat.
Are you going to need help getting up the stairs to the studio?
No, I'm moving okay. Not great, but okay.
Okay. All right. Well, Patricia, had a lovely evening, a lovely chat. Thank you so much for being with us. And
Welcome. Thank you.
Whatever you, good luck on the book sales, and good luck for whatever you're going to be doing afterwards.
Thank you.
Go out and have some fun.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you again. Have a
Misfit
great night.
Nation, we love you. Have a great night.
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation show. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. That's themisfitnation.com. Check out all our past episodes and get some of the great Misfit Nation gear for you and your family. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling, because we are Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation.